Hey there, ladies and gents, welcome back to the vlog. My name is Drew, and welcome to Mental Health Monday. So I did a quick channel update in one of my previous videos where I talked about the new schedule for this channel and how I want to start making mental health videos again because I think it's really important, and I've been through my fair share of mental health related stuff, and I've gone through, I don't want to say the system, but I've leveraged a lot of resources that are available to help with mental health recovery, and so I want to share those with you via YouTube videos and stuff like that, and hopefully reach a wider audience and help you guys find resources for yourself if you're going through crisis or whatever you may be going through in your life. So to kick things off today, in that same vein, I wanted to talk a little bit about what resources you have available to you if you're in high school or college, or kind of in that young adult age where you're starting to get out on your own, or you're just finishing up high school, getting onto college, or maybe you're making your way through high school and you're having a rough time of it. What resources do you have available in that case? And this whole video came about because I was reading an article in the local newspaper where it was talking about mental health related crises cases in the school system where I live. And I live in a city in North Texas, about 30 minutes north of Dallas. And I grew up here and I went to high school here. And when I went to high school with like 3,000 other kids. I went to a pretty big high school. And now I work with a lot of those kids. I'm actually a youth minister at my church, and so I see a lot of these kids on a weekly basis, and a lot of them went to the same high school that I did, and so they're probably going through some of the same struggles that I did. And this newspaper article alluded to the fact that the number of mental health related crises that are reported has almost tripled in the past 2 years. So in 2017, it was something like 1.7 cases per day, by the way. That's the impressive number. So that means roughly 1 to 2 kids every single day are reporting that they're having a mental health crisis or something like that. But what's even more drastic is now the number in 2019 is closer to 3.9. And that's rough. That really is rough, guys. One thing that I've noticed when I talk to a lot of the kids that I work with is that it's kind of cliche to say it, but it's not easy being a high schooler in this day and age. It certainly isn't as easy as when I was in high school, and I say that like it was so long ago. I graduated in 2012, and it's now 2019, about to be 2020. So it was a substantial amount of time ago, but not too long ago. And you hear about stuff in the news and, school shootings and everything like that, and it's no surprise that kids are feeling a lot more stress nowadays, because between school and feeling like they have to meet this expectation, or having to do well in school, make good grades, keep up with the times, keep up with all their friends, social media doesn't help, and all above all that, there's this itching feeling in the back of your head that you may go to school one day and something atrocious happens to you, a grievous act of violence, and you just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And it's no surprise when you're in that context that the number of mental health related cases has gone up almost by 3 times. And to that end, a lot of the same things that I've been telling my kids are things that I think can apply to anybody. If you're in some kind of mental health crisis, what kind of resources do you have available to you? Well, if your crisis is immediate, like you're having a panic attack and you're contemplating something very, very bad, the immediate resources that I would point you to would be the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. That's 1-800-275-TALK. I know that because Logic made a song about it, which is a really great song if you want to give it a listen. If you are of an LGBTQ persuasion, or you identify with one of those groups, then there is the Trevor Project, which is an amazing a resource for young adults who are in the LGBTQ community. They have counselors and crisis intervention specialists that are trained on LGBTQ related issues, and so they can speak more to what you're feeling if you feel like your issue is more LGBTQ related. If you're transitioning out of high school and you are getting into college, let's say you spend some time in the military or you spend some time in the service, and then you're going back with your GI Bill to get your education through the college system or wherever you're going. There's also the Veterans Suicide Prevention Helpline. When you dial in, it's the same as the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, which is 1-800-275-TALK, but you press 1 when you dial in, and it puts you to a veteran related crisis intervention specialist. And I know that because I have personally called the National Suicide Prevention Hotline 2 times, and I didn't call the veterans one because I didn't serve, but I called the general one, and I remember hearing that on the voice prompts. So again, these are services that I've leveraged myself. So there's that. If you're feeling immediate, like down in the dumps, you're thinking about committing suicide or something very, very horrible, definitely give those people a talk, or give them a shout, because they're there to help you work through that sort of thing. And your phone call, or your life, is worth at least a phone call. That's what they usually say. So before you do anything drastic, at least give it a call and talk it out. And having been somebody who's worked through suicide or suicidal tendencies, I know that when you're really in your head and you feel like you want to end it all, it's really, really helpful to have somebody to talk to. You just need to talk it out. You need to get out of your head and start speaking what you're thinking and let somebody else hear it and kind of walk you through that. So the National Suicide Prevention Hotline is a great resource for that. Aside from that, if you are not in like a really dire crisis and you're not thinking about doing something horrible, then one resource you obviously should leverage, and one thing that I recommend to every one of my kiddos that I work with, is therapy. Cognitive behavioral therapy, to be exact. There's also DBT, dialectic behavioral therapy, for more nasty stuff. Well, I don't want to say nasty stuff, but dialectic behavioral therapy is like much more involved, and it's more for more rigid behavioral problems. But just general day-to-day stuff, like you're dealing with anxiety, depression, OCD, any of the like, then cognitive behavioral therapy is a really great resource for you. And what's great now is we have the internet and we have a lot of connected devices, so you've seen a lot of applications pop up. Talkspace is another one that's really, really popular. I know Michael Phelps has used it a couple times, and he's one of their main endorsers. So Talkspace is very, very good. If you don't mind maybe talking to a counselor or somebody across state lines, or somebody who is remote. But I've gone to therapy for a year and a half now, and before that, I grew up with Asperger's syndrome, in case you guys haven't seen my previous videos, so I've been in and out of therapy for most of my life. And so I believe holistically in the kind of face-to-face behavioral therapy approach. And with a lot of these remote or digital therapy sessions, you usually have like a FaceTime call going or a Skype call where you actually see your counselor, but there's something to be said for sitting in a room with somebody else and talking it out and kind of reading their cues and the nuances, and they can read your cues and nuances, and you can work through a lot more when you're in the same physical juxtaposition. Of course, it's very, very hard. There's been a lot of stigma around therapy lately. I don't want you to ever think that you're weak for taking therapy. I don't want you to think that there's anything wrong with you. Chances are 1 in every 2 adults nowadays lives with some form of anxiety or anxiety-related disorder, and the number keeps going up. Everybody has something going on up in here. And to that end, you think about, you go to the gym every day, or you go to the gym 3 times a week to keep your body healthy. Why wouldn't you go to a counselor once a week or once a month to keep your brain healthy? Your brain and your mental health is just as important as your physical health. There's a holistic system that works within your body that includes your mental health, your physical health, and your spiritual health. So that's the one analogy that I usually draw on when people are hesitant with therapy. It's like, you go to the gym every day, or you work out every day to keep your body fit. Why not just go to a mental gym? And that is CBT or therapy, or even do just basic stuff like meditation and self-care once a day. That's important too. That keeps your brain fit and in a good space, I should say. So now, the next question you may be wondering is, when it comes to therapy, there's usually a cost associated with it. And most insurances nowadays do cover some kind of mental health care. So definitely check with your parents, see what your insurance coverage looks like. If it's not the greatest, that's totally fine. You can still get help. Like I said, there's a lot of remote applications like Talkspace who, work on different rates and things like that. I haven't read too much into Talkspace. I just have heard really good recommendations on it, so that's why I'm mentioning it now. But I'm sure the rates there are very competitive with traditional therapy, or insurance that covers traditional therapy, I should say. If your insurance isn't the greatest and you're not wanting to do remote, you still want to get person to person, then there are a lot of therapists who will do what's called a sliding scale rate. And what a sliding scale rate is basically you pay what you can. And it's kind of a pro bono form of therapy. So a lot of therapists will do, like, once a day, they'll do pro bono work or a sliding scale work where they see patients for a reduced rate so that they can still get access to proper mental health care. So You can do a Google search. I believe the American Psychiatric Association, the APA, has a search engine that will show you all this like licensed counselors in your area, and there's so many other tools that do that too. And a lot of the times on those profiles they'll mention like a sliding rule or a pro bono rate, pro bono being totally free. So there are rates for more affordable practice as well. So if you need to talk to somebody and you maybe don't have as much walking around money as somebody else, that shouldn't keep you from getting good mental health care. And there are very, very, very good counselors out there that do their work pro bono or on a sliding scale to make sure that you get the care that you need, regardless of your economic status. So don't feel like money is the only thing separating you from proper mental health care. You can definitely find good care for very, very few dollars out of your pocket. So definitely check out sliding scale if you can. But all in all, I definitely recommend therapy. I recommend that you do some form of self-care every single day, even if it's just as simple as taking a shower. A hot shower can do a lot for you. Brushing your teeth, being cleanly, or focusing on your cleanliness, that's what I'm saying. I'm not sure cleanly is a word, but focusing on your hygiene, that helps a lot. It helps to be clean. That gives you kind of a good sudsy feeling, I should say, and or squeaky clean feeling, I should say. Suds are what you put on your body to get clean. Minor digression. So again, self-care, doing some meditation, 10 minutes a day. You can use apps like Calm or Headspace. Those are two of my favorites to do meditation. But definitely have some sort of therapy in mind, even if you go once a month or once every 3 months or so. I'm off to once every 2 months now with my counselor, but have an established counselor that you can talk to and who knows you and who has seen you regularly, so that they kind of know your story, and if ever you need to go back, you can talk to them on a regular basis so you can work through mental health crises when they come up. So long story short, if you're in immediate crisis or you need immediate help, you are 2 seconds from doing something very, very deplorable, definitely reach out to the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, the Trevor Project, whatever resources that you can find available. For more day-to-day stuff, just working through anxiety, depression, OCD, which every single one of us has in one form or the other, I definitely recommend going and finding a good counselor in your area. And remember that you can find sliding scale counseling if you need to. So if you don't have as much money, you can do a sliding scale rate or even pro bono. And if you are kind of hesitant on the idea of doing a face-to-face conversation, you can use apps like Talkspace and similar remote counseling services that connect you with people across state lines using the power of the internet. So those are just some of your resources, and of course always remember that your life is worth a phone call, your life is worth talking to somebody. And again, I just want to reiterate, it is not easy being a kid these days, and I don't know that we give you guys enough credit. I'm speaking to you guys, high schoolers and college age kids. We don't give you guys enough credit for all the stuff that you have to deal with. You guys are dealing with far more stress than a lot of adults have to deal with, and I applaud you for it. So keep pushing, keep going out there, keep doing amazing things. You're doing wonderful, whatever it is you're doing or whatever stage you're in life you are. As long as you're doing your best, you're doing an amazing job. So remember that, and we'll finish up this video in the normal way. And that is by me saying, always remember, friends, that you are wanted, you are loved, and you are appreciated. You have a special talent that nobody else has, and the world is waiting on you to bring it out. So muster a little courage, go out into the world, and change it. That's what the world's waiting on. You.